Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the first installment of Nothing Ventured, Nothing Gained. If you are just joining me, you will be able to see the very first video I did, which was my introduction into Nothing Ventured, Nothing Gained, which is going to be the video above from this one. And for all of you that are following me, thank you for joining me on what is going to be the first installment of Nothing Ventured, Nothing Gained. This week, I'm going to be looking at the two stories that captured my eyes, and I think that was a general talking point for a lot of people this week. And the first one is going to be the Oscar Pistorious trial. This was actually the sentencing of Oscar Pistorious, and I'm sure we're all aware of it, and if we're not, I'm going to give you a little brief on what's happened. Oscar Pistorious has today been sentenced to 5 years in prison for the death of his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp, although the disgraced athlete could serve as little as 10 months behind bars. The South African judge, Judge Masipa, ruled a non-custodial sentence would send the wrong impression to the community, but a long sentence would not be appropriate because it appeared to lack mercy. The athlete was immediately taken down to the cells before being transferred to the notorious Pretoria Central Prison. So yes, this ongoing trial, which has been on for roughly about 10 months or so and has captured, pretty much the nation as a whole following this murder or manslaughter trial, has now come to an end by the judge ruling to sentence him for 5 years, although Oscar Pistorius may not even spend the entire 5 years. He may spend as little as between 10 to 12 months, it's been reported, in prison, while the rest of his sentence will be carried out under house arrest. When the ruling occurred earlier this week, I sort of felt a little bit like, okay, well, finally they've sentenced him, because something, there definitely needed to be a sentence. However, my thoughts are, is it too lenient? And then I started thinking a lot about sort of these sensationalized stories that we get. Oscar Pistorius is a public figure. Before this, obviously, he was known for his abilities and being an athlete and such, but I find that when celebrities are in the news for crime, as I said, things get sensationalized, and then to me, it doesn't feel as though they get the same sentencing as your average Joe Bloggs who commits a crime. If this was an average Joe Bloggs who committed this crime, of course we wouldn't hear about it and the sentencing wouldn't go on for as long as it did here for 10 months. However, it isn't, and I fully take that on board, and I respect all that had to go on, and that's not what I'm here to question. I'm just questioning the final overruling of his sentence, which is the 5 years, but more so the potential of 10 months in prison, because they need to show mercy versus the actual complete 5 years. I said about this week, I sort of felt like, okay, here's what's going to happen. He's going to serve his sentence. It is a bit too lenient. And the reason I think it's too lenient is because it's Oscar Pistorius, and they're taking into consideration the fact that he's disabled. He may not be able to cope because he's such a public figure. The whole trial has been captioned by the nation, and he's going to get a lot of stick for it. But I don't think that even weighs up to the murder of his girlfriend, Reva Steenkamp, on Valentine's Day last year. I'm not going to go into it, but, into the details of it, because we all know the background of it. And if you don't, you just need to type in Oscar Pistorius trial into Google, and you can, find yourself up to date with all that's been going on with that. However, it does feel as though he's going to go in for his 10 months, going to be on house arrest, and then there's going to be this big comeback. When I heard the sentence breakout, I was just thinking about all the PR agencies that are going to be waiting and trying to get lucrative contracts to get Mr. Pistorius the best comeback deal when he does then appear within the next sort of 4.5 years. Of course, it's going to die down now that he's been sentenced. I'm sure nobody wants to hear about him anymore. They just want him to serve his time out of respect to the Steenkamp family and such. However, when it's time for him to come out, it's just going to be another media frenzy. What's going to happen, in my opinion, is there's going to be this big comeback. His story, it's going to be Oscar Pistorious, my side of things, and such. And then it's all just going to be a bit more sensationalized. We have to remember that a crime was committed, and the sentencing, I'm not going to get, I don't want to start, I don't have any dictatorship into the laws and the rules. Like I said, I do think that it was a little bit too lenient, and it's going to be a lot more, even more sensationalized when he comes out, because he's going to come out and declare he's a changed man, whether he was guilty or not of it, whether he intended to or not. The crime was still committed, but I'm not sure enough time would have healed for such a heinous crime. And so that's my outlook. But what are your thoughts? Do you think the sentencing was too lenient? Do you think it's fair? Does he deserve to then go in for 10 months and then the rest under and then the rest of his sentence under house arrest? Do you think that public figures get more lenient sort of sentencing? Are a lot of things taken into consideration when you are a person of the public eye? What do you think? I'd like to hear your thoughts on the sentencing of Oscar Pistorius. Whether you think it was fair, whether you don't think it was fair, whether he has an advantage or a disadvantage. I just want to know your opinions. So please leave some comments below. Please leave some comments below regarding this story and what you think on my comments of the story. Okay, and so the second story that also captured my attention, and I'm sure that of the whole nation, the whole world, to everyone who's concerned and cares about everybody's healthcare and welfare, including their own, would actually have to be the one. The story that captured my attention again this week was Nigeria officially being Ebola free. Declared Africa's most popular nation, Nigeria, officially Ebola free, but warned that it remained vulnerable as long as the virus was raging elsewhere in West Africa. The country representative of the World Health Organization said 42 days or incubation periods of 21 days had elapsed without any new confirmed cases of the deadly virus. Now, this is just music to my ears. The fact that a nation, a popular nation as big as Nigeria, and that's also where I'm from, is now officially Ebola free. We've had no reports. Nothing has happened for the last 42 days. It's being wiped out. And I, for one, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, and I'm happy. Whilst I'm sorry and I do mourn the loss of lives from this deadly disease, it is the utmost relief to know that Nigeria is Ebola free. Having said that, that doesn't mean that one can now rest easy, because I am aware that it is still sort of filtering through other parts of Western Africa. But it is just a relief, and it just means that as it's now filtering out and has been officially free of Ebola from Nigeria, we can also, it's winding down and it's now leaving Africa. We hope and we pray. This has been good news, because it's not just, I'm not just coming from it at an African point of view. I'm coming from it as a human being who cares about people and cares about what's going on in the world. For such a virus to capture so many people unnecessarily, children, elderlies, people before their time, it has been a very sad and unfortunate disaster. And whilst my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody, I was completely overwhelmed and thankful when I heard the reports that Nigeria had officially become Ebola free, and can only hope that now we can work and concentrate on making such countries and such areas of the world more accessible to better healthcare, to prevent these things, and to be able to wrap up situations like this at a more speedier rate without having the loss of lives. From my point of view, I'm just very happy to hear that Nigeria is Ebola free, and I can only hope that we can now start concentrating on all the other parts of Africa and the world that are dealing with this deadly virus. It does need to be curbed, but it does. I'm glad that we're starting from one place. That definitely deserved a resounding applause for the case, and I just hope that as a nation we can focus on moving forward from this. Okay guys, so that was my first installment of Nothing Ventured, Nothing Gained. I hope that my two topics were of interest and they are of talking points to you as well. I do hope to hear from you in the comments below. If there was anything that you don't agree on that I mentioned or you do agree on, or maybe you'd like me to explain better, leave a comment below and I will also comment on it as well. Like I said, it is my first video, so do bear with me if there are any kinks, but I am intending to go on with this, so the more videos I make, the better I'll get. Like they say, practice does make perfect. So stay tuned, like, comment, share, subscribe, and yes, I look forward to seeing you all and more in my next video. So I'll be picking two subjects, two news stories again that capture my interest and are a talking point for the week, and I will be discussing my opinions on them. So stay tuned and look forward to that next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.